3 people have escaped from the Howard Springs COVID quarantine facility.
As you can see in these pictures, they've been conducting thorough searches in car boots, checking vehicle registrations.
Do you feel guilt?
No.
During the 6-day war, I had an opportunity.
In the office, you're supposed to. Sit down again, one more time. All right.
Oh my gosh, I know we're a little bit late today, but if you have, 5 minutes. We're going to get to this story first. You have to see this clip coming out of Australia. I'm not even going to tease any of the other stuff because we got to get to it. Daily Caller Live. My name is Jobob. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from a dingy bunker completely cut off from the outside world except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. Today it is December 3rd, the year of our Lord 2021, and we have I think this is the craziest video that we've seen in a while, especially regarding COVID. We're going to get to that straight away. Also, we have clips from the Alec Baldwin interview last night with George Stephanopoulos on ABC. Pretty interesting story there. Joe Biden makes up a bunch of stuff, as he always does. Job reports numbers are in, and they do not look good for the president. Also, what's the last thing? Oh, the Christmas tree lighting at the White House was yesterday, and that was super awkward. But first, this. So, I'm going to start this off. I'm going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you that this is a story that it is not. And I want you to look at this video through the context of the story that I'm going to tell you that it is. Then I'll tell you what it actually is and see what you think. Okay, here's the false story. 5 triple homicide convicted felons escaped from an Australia prison. And this is what's happening down in Australia right now as they search for those convicted killers who have again escaped from their prison. Watch this clip with that story context in mind.
Now, major police checkpoints have been set up around Howard Springs for the past several hours. As you can see in these pictures, they've been conducting thorough searches in car boots, checking vehicle registrations, cars and buses alike. But in the last half an hour, what we understand is they've actually been dismantled. Exactly why, that hasn't been confirmed. Hopefully good news. We're also not sure yet who these people are connected with, whether it's a repatriation flight or those Aboriginal community members who have been staying here.
Okay, so what I said at the beginning of that is 5 convicted triple homicide murderers have escaped from a prison in Australia. And notably so, they're stopping cars, looking in trunks, checking vehicle registrations, all of that. That is what they're doing. Here's the thing. I told you at the beginning of this, I lied to you. That is not actually what's happening in Australia. What is actually happening is people who have escaped from a COVID quarantine camp. All of that, the news reporters treating it as if murderers have escaped from prison and are on the loose. The police are stopping cars, looking in trunks, checking the back seats, asking who people are, not for murderers, not for criminals at all, but for people who have, in their words, escaped from quarantine. Holy cow. Now, I want you to rewatch this entire clip from a Australian news channel and tell me if you think this is absolutely insane. Let me know in the comment section. And also, if you haven't shared this, people need to see this. Your liberal friends out there, all of your friends need to see this. Click the share button. It's right over in this down little corner over here, or click the like button or the comment. It doesn't cost you anything. People need to see it. It helps us get to more people, so I really appreciate you clicking the share button, hitting one of the like emoji buttons. But okay, so watch this. Again, legit Australian news story talking about people who have escaped from COVID camps. Oh boy.
Good morning. We start with breaking news out of Darwin, where 3 people have escaped from the Howard Springs COVID quarantine facility. Talia Sava's there for us. Talia, good morning. There's a search underway right now.
Yes, that's right, Davina. Good morning to you. We've been told the trio scaled the fence in the early hours of this morning. Police receiving reports around 4:40 a.m. Now, major police checkpoints have been set up around Howard Springs for the past several hours. As you can see in these pictures, they've been conducting thorough searches in car boots, checking vehicle registrations, cars and buses alike. But in the last half an hour, what we understand is they've actually been dismantled. Exactly why, that hasn't been confirmed. Hopefully good news. We're also not sure yet who these people are connected with, whether it's a repatriation flight or those Aboriginal community members who have been staying here. This is definitely going to bring this gold standard facility under intense scrutiny. On Sunday, we had a man escape and found on Darwin's party precinct, and this latest situation is only going to put us under the microscope further.
They had a man escape? That is how they're reporting this in Australia. I want to get to a couple of these comments. Kelly is thinking exactly what I'm thinking. WTF? What is going on? Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. David says the Australian penal colony has returned. Yeah, can't agree with you more there. People they are paranoid over COVID. Yeah, Robin says paranoid. If you're just listening to this, I know a lot of people listen on the podcast. I'd appreciate you doing so. If you miss any segment of the show and you want to catch up on your news of the day while you're mowing the lawn, cleaning the pool, whatever you want to do, you can find us on any podcast outlet. Just search Daily Caller Live with Jobob. You can find us there. But if you're just listening to the podcast and you're missing the visuals, it looks like, seriously, it looks like a 7 convicted murderers have escaped from a federal prison, and that is what the checkpoints look like. You have police opening up trunks, checking car registrations, looking in the back seat, checking to see who people are, ID checkpoints along all of the roads. Again, not for murderers, for COVID quarantine escapees. So all that would mean is that the Australian government is taking people who don't want to be there, clearly because they're escaping, and putting them in COVID prison camps. Let me see. So there's a question from Jill. Says, are they in quarantine because they have COVID or because they don't have a vaccination? I don't know about the vaccination, but they're there because they have tested positive for COVID. And the Australian government has put them in quarantine camps. Remind you anything? Chuck says coming to the U.S. soon. I hope not, but that is that is scary. Kelly with a funny joke here. They should run the U.S. border. It's open. Yeah, that's very funny, and yes, they should. Maybe if we had that sort of scrutiny on our U.S. border, maybe we wouldn't have such a problem down there. But yeah, this is absolutely crazy. Daryl says coming soon to your town. There are a lot of towns in America that I think there are a lot of people that look at this and go, yeah, well, how did they escape? We need to buff up security. We need to keep people inside. Remember, Canada's now debating whether or not they should allow people to leave their country. This is getting gnarly and pretty ridiculous when it comes to how people are treated with this whole COVID thing. Joe Biden also announced some new COVID plans yesterday. I'm going to keep this graphic up on the screen because I think that possibly is what's coming. But yesterday, Joe Biden announced some plans on how to get through the winter with stricter COVID policies. Again, look at what's going on in Australia and don't think that can't come here or at least be tried by our super lefty politicians who think that we need to protect everyone at all costs, even if it kills them. Joe Biden said yesterday while he was at the NIH, a month ago, we announced requirements for that foreign travelers must be vaccinated if entering the United States, Biden said in remarks at the National Institute of Health. This week, I announced additional action to strengthen international travels to give us more time to stop the spread of and study a new variant. It used to be international travels flying into the United States had to test negatively 3 days before they enter the country. We'll be announcing that now they have to test within 24 hours of getting on a plane to help buy time to study the Omicron variant, which pretty much all of the cases of Omicron variant are mild, to say the least. And there's a possibility that the Omicron variant is a good thing, because not to get into this whole thing but viruses want to stay alive. So in effect, if they kill off all of their hosts, they can't survive. They want to live. So a lot of variants could transform into less deadly, but still around viruses in order to continue to live as the virus is. They don't want to kill off their hosts. So there's that. It could be a good thing that Omicron is now out. It could be a great thing that it spreads and gets to every single person. Nobody really gets sick from it, but now everybody has natural immunity, which the government, the federal government especially, continues to ignore. But Joe Biden is saying, this is the reason I find this funny, is that he's saying all inbound international travelers must test within 1 day of departure. What does that mean? Does that mean someone in Guatemala who's going to walk up through Central America and come into the border illegally must test 1 day before they leave their home in the Central American country? Is that what that means? Because here's the thing. If the Biden administration is going to take this travel ban seriously, you have to shut down the border wall. And you have to shut down the border. Anything else is just hypocritical. Saying, well, we're going to shut down international travel. International travel is shut down, except for the 150,000 people every single month that come through on the southern border. If they want to say they're taking it seriously, and they want us to believe that they're taking it seriously, and I don't even know how seriously they should be taking it. I actually have no idea. If they want us to believe that they're taking it seriously, you have to stop the flow at the border, which, interestingly enough, we reported yesterday that the Biden administration is looking to put in Trump-era policies as early as next week. The Remain in Mexico plan, the U.S. and Mexico have agreed to a Remain in Mexico plan. It's interesting. I feel like somebody had done that already. Is that just me? I don't know. I feel like what's the guy's name? The guy before Biden. I think he did something like that. But the Biden administration is looking to put in the new Remain in Mexico, the new old Remain in Mexico policy. Let me see if we can get to some comments. Not really a ton to look at. I want to get to this. This is interesting. Well, it's interesting because I generally don't think it's all that interesting. The Alec Baldwin story we talked about yesterday. He went on ABC this week. So just to reset really quick, this story has gotten pretty crazy. Unfortunately, there was a firing of a gun. I'm not going to assume what happened here because a lot of different people are saying a lot of different things. On a movie set that unfortunately killed the cinematographer and injured the director on the set. Terrible thing to have happen. But the aftermath of it has been interesting to say the least. And again, usually I don't pay attention to this sort of stuff, but this has been fascinating because a couple weeks ago, the script supervisor, Alec Baldwin, said he was pointing a gun at the camera. The gun went off, hit the director, killed the cinematographer. The script supervisor says there was no scene. It wasn't in the script that he should have been pulling that trigger, which is weird. And how did it go off? Then Alec Baldwin, who hasn't done any interviews, came out on George Stephanopoulos' show on ABC this week and said, I never pulled the trigger. We talked about that yesterday, but the whole interview aired last night. And the most interesting thing, I think, from that interview was this clip. I'm not sure how long I'm going to let this run on, but just another kind of weird wrinkle in the story. And I would imagine after listening to this clip, Alec Baldwin's publicist is pulling their hair out. Listen to this.
Your emotions are so clearly so right there on the surface. You felt shock. You felt anger. You felt sadness. Do you feel guilt?
No. I feel that there is. I feel that someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me.
Baldwin now awaiting the outcome of the sheriff's investigation, hoping whatever it uncovers helps to ensure a tragedy like this never happens again.
What do we come out of this learning? What do we come out of it? What changes can be made? Because where you have a person where, as I said, this is 1 in a billion, that someone puts a real bullet in the gun. That never happens. And the idea that a real bullet was in that gun and would come out of that gun and kill that woman, that was not even in the realm of possibility. And that's the thing that they must find out, is who brought bullets onto the set.
So Alec Baldwin saying he doesn't feel guilty at all. And I would imagine there's a couple reasons why he could be saying that. Either his publicist is yelling at him in his ear saying, well, sorry, no. His publicist is probably thinking, oh my gosh, this is a crazy thing I have to deal with now. His lawyers, on the other hand, are probably in his ear saying you cannot admit any sort of guilt, especially as this is an active investigation that is still ongoing in the state of New Mexico. The sheriffs are trying to figure out what exactly happened. But there's now so many different stories as to what happened, how it happened. The script supervisors involved, Alec Baldwin, obviously, the firearms handler on the set, all have different stories as to how. And it's not unexpected that they would, because everybody's trying to cover their own butt. But holy cow, this has gotten way more interesting. Again, and Alec Baldwin saying he doesn't feel guilty. Whether or not your lawyers tell you what to say or not, I would probably feel pretty dang guilty if the gun wasn't in my hands. But again, who knows what's going on? It could be his lawyers that are in his ear telling him, don't admit any sort of guilt whatsoever. It could be that he's got a therapist every single day telling him you shouldn't feel guilty, you can't feel guilty, and maybe he genuinely thinks that. I don't know. I can't pretend to know what's going on in the head of Alec Baldwin, but this gets more and more fascinating with every twist and turn to see how it actually is going to end up playing out. A lot of comments here. People aren't big fans of Alec Baldwin, apparently. Charles said his hand pulled back the hammer of the weapon, admittedly. I think he did say that, or somebody said that. I'm not entirely sure. Again, I'm not going to speculate on what actually happened. I'll wait for the actual report. But again, while I generally probably wouldn't have a ton of interest in this, it's just kind of too fascinating to ignore. I want to get to something that isn't as fascinating, but is definitely as important, probably more important. We missed job numbers. The jobs report is out, as it is every Thursday of the month, the first Thursday of the month, I believe. Jobs report is out, and it is not good for the president politically, but not good for any of us. November's job report missed big. CNBC says job growth disappoints in November with a gain of just 210,000 jobs, despite high hopes. The reason why I want to hit this story, I want to read an Instagram post from the president that he posted 4 days ago prior to the jobs report coming out, trying to mitigate the communication issue that they're going to have around jobs, because this is I don't even know what number in a row. They have missed the jobs reports, I think probably every single month. The jobs report coming out and then the estimates are completely off. The U.S. economy created far fewer jobs than expected in November before a new COVID threat created a scare that growth could slow into the winter. The Labor Department reported on Friday. Unemployment. So this is always interesting. This is the unemployment numbers are always fascinating to me, because unemployment is a pretty bad indicator of things, because I don't remember the specifics of it, but unemployment numbers don't dictate the people that are unemployed. They dictate the people that are unemployed, also looking for work, and only have been looking for work within like a 6-month time period. If you're looking for work for 6 months and don't continue to look for work after that 6 months, you fall out of the unemployment statistics or something like that. The unemployment statistics are a bunch of garbage. So it did fall, I guess, 0.4%, but I don't think that actually matters all that much. This was an interesting stat, though, that I guess I didn't know. Labor participation rate is 61.8%. Now, I don't know all of the variables that go into what makes up the labor participation rate. Maybe I should have probably got that before I came on the air here. But 61% of Americans are making up the entire labor force, is how I read that number, which is the highest level since March 2020. But obviously, March 2020, I don't know if you remember or are aware of this, there is a big pandemic that has hit the world and the country. And a lot of people have been forced to shut down despite how damaging that has been to the economy. The Dow Jones estimate for November jobs was 573,000 new jobs and a jobless level of 4.5% for an economy beset by a chronic labor shortage. Again, this is according to CNBC. So the Dow Jones expected 573,000 jobs. Instead, we've got to 210,000 jobs. So we missed it by over half. I want to get to this Instagram post really quick, just read to you how things are being played on the Biden administration side. Joe Biden 4 days ago said this on Instagram: since I was sworn in January 20th, we've seen a record 5.6 million jobs in job growth, with more jobs created at this point than ever before in American history. So yeah, that's kind of true, but again, completely ignoring the fact that there was a massive pandemic, that the government shut down a bunch of businesses, and those businesses were forced to close, forced to lay people off, forced to fire people. So the government had a huge role to play in those jobs being lost. So I don't know how much credit the government gets for those jobs then being created. But at the same time, when politicians, you should just know this off the top of your head, when politicians talk numbers in a country of 330 million people are seemingly irrelevant. 5 million jobs sounds like a lot of jobs. But remember, there are 330 million people in the United States of America. That is not even 2% growth. If everybody's unemployed, that's not even 2% of the population. In reality, the Biden administration has missed expectations pretty much every single month and missed it big in November. So when you see politicians using numbers and not proportions and not percentages, know that they're probably trying to hide how bad the proportions and percentages actually are. You should know that going forward. I want to wrap up the week with this. This is kind of funny, kind of just weird and uncomfortable to watch, but I had to play it. Joe Biden was being introduced by LL Cool J at the White House Christmas tree lighting ceremony. And apparently there was a big miscommunication. It was like a 2.5 minute gap of when LL Cool J said, "And now introducing the President and First Lady." And then everybody clapped. The music was playing. Everything looked great. Where is he? Is he here? Is he not here yet? And then the song finished because the band ran out of things to play. And then there was even more silence. And people were like, what the heck is going on? LL Cool J, have you lied to us? And then the music, they did the whole thing over. I'm going to stop explaining it. And we're going to watch this clip. Check this out. We fast forwarded some of the parts because they're too funny they're pretty long. So if you're just listening, I'll explain to you what's going on. But check this out.
Now, it is my tremendous honor to welcome our literal host, the actual host for this very American celebration, President Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden.
Hooray! Yay! Everybody cheers! Oh, yeah! Okay. Not there quite yet. All right, we're still waiting. I fast-forwarded this clip because there's a lot. The band is playing really fast. People are walking hilariously fast. Oh, there we're back. Here, are they going to come in? The band is still playing. People are wondering what's going on. And, okay, the band is done with their song. Now we have to fast-forward even more time because they're still not there.
All right, so...
We want to do it again. LO is taking the mic back.
You're good. You all stood up, very patriotic. That's wonderful. Yes, you're respecting the office.
You're supposed to. Sit down again one more time.
Okay, so we're sitting down again. All right.
You know.
Great. Are they here?
It'll be fine.
Okay. Nothing going on.
Okay.
If you're listening to this is as comfortable as you might think. Fast forwarding again. All right, we're going to... Okay, we're doing it again.
It's an honor to welcome our real host, our literal host for this very American celebration, President Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden.
Carrie says boo! And there they are.